Hey you guys, it's MJ from All to Love. How are you? I want to just go live and quickly do an intuitive energy update around this new moon. So we're in the new moon energies right now and have been for a few days, a couple days, and will be. There are some major transits happening, planetary shifts that are really culminating after the year we've had of pretty epic retrogrades and energetic alignments that we've not seen on the planet on a kind of human consciousness level. So this lifetime, sort of no humans alive in body right now have experienced this specific energetic alignment. And I'm hearing, Age of Aquarius, there is a huge surge of that energetic seeding being born. So the energies that were seeded for us in the 60s and 70s, so I'm talking just pure generational awareness, that's enough. That explains it. Generational awareness that there was a movement of love and compassion seeded for humanity in the 60s and 70s. And of course, what we saw in that time was also some of the kind of darkest and most corrupted human horrors. So like the nuclear bomb and Vietnam was a really gruesome kind of war, and so we're very much in a similar energetic belt, you could say, of an increase, this rising of compassion, which is we're a part of that, and at the same time a shining light and exposing and seeing again more layers and veils of darkness, malevolence, corruption. And so I'm hearing like the witches are rising. So it's like, and I guess you could just say the intuitives, the empaths, the witches, the wizards, the humans who have an awareness of their knowing and abilities, intuitive abilities. So that's coming to the fore. Hence that, again, the kind of polarized aspect of how wonderful and light-filled all of these intuitive gifts are, and then the polarity of what a lot of us are kind of encouraging to share more of is the processing of the emotional field, right? The depth of work when we're really feeling the earth's energy, because there's darkness and pain, and that's ultimately what this rising up is us honoring and holding space for that darkness and pain so that we can move through it and rise above it and find just find more harmony in our frequency and perspective, because that's really all we're doing is reprogramming our mind body spirit complex. We're reprogramming ourselves in these bodies. So that is evolution, that is an evolutionary upgrade, right? And the crux of it, of course, is that we're not, it's not outside of us. It's an experience that we're having and choosing to have as souls and as beings. It's that is part of the knowing as we come more into ourselves as well, is that I'm having some song is going in my mind. This is what you came for. So yeah, so for a lot of us, like this experience of an awakening, this experience of like an energetic upgrade is like the only reason we're here, really. And And I know, again, that having that knowing and that visceral experience for me, this last like 2.5 years, like the deprogramming would energetically from within myself was only possible because of the leap that I took. And so I only had the kind of stamina and the know-how how to get through all these dark times and intense patterns because of where we've arrived to on the planet and the cosmic timeline, you could say. So and ultimately, I guess that's like what's happening. It must be what's happening on the energetic level, is that enough minds are awakening. So the human consciousness now is like is vibrating higher, and so we are now experiencing the timeline shift, a cosmic timeline shift of new earth. It's literally just the fact that a dominant frequency of minds on the planet are suddenly going, wait a minute, is it that? Or could it be that? And now more people are choosing like the love and the compassion and self-responsibility. It's like critical mass. Maybe that's it as well on a scientific level, that we've arrived at a kind of critical mass of a frequency of a, it's because I do find it, because people knock me sometimes for being too intuitive or emotional, and but I actually personally, from inside myself, I consider myself actually more skeptical than a lot of people, and somebody who's done a lot of, reading science, reading things about quantum mechanics and quantum coherence and quantum physics, because I'm just like, years and years ago, once I started to feel the efficacy of yoga and meditation, still as a skeptic, that's when I started to research more into metaphysics, esoteric wisdom, and law of attraction teachings, and then getting into the science of it. And so when I talk about these shifts, or when I talk about these energy polarities, I'm, from within myself, there is a scientific understanding, which makes it very kind of black and white, but in a harmonious way. Not because we understand that there is, like, black and white is still two ends of the same spectrum, right? As in, like, old paradigm would see black and white in two separate jars, like they're two separate things. No. Black and white is just a color spectrum, right? And so we are still unifying. And there's that quote by Yogi Bhajan, right? Vibrate the cosmos and the cosmos clears the path. So it's like enough of us are vibrating the cosmos to start to upgrade into a cosmic timeline, which, again, sometimes when I'm doing these shares, it's like I'm not even sure what I'm saying, but somehow it resonates to like some of my earliest awakenings. And I get this a lot now. So I'm having these like resurges of memory banks of like, there is a, I guess you could say, like yin yang, or like a wave function to the shift. I guess Aluna talks about this as well, that the waves coming through. And that's part of like what we're establishing in the new way of being. Actually, it's that reality is a lot more wave-like. We're no longer trying to fit ourselves into these limited patterns, right? And I talk about the boxes or whatever, but like, enough of us are kind of popping out of that linearity of that grid. Okay, you look at it just like a web and a grid, and there's a sticky low-level grid that we kind of get sucked into, and then we feed it by focusing on it. And then there's like this new, lighter, more expansive grid, and the more established, which it is becoming very established, the more established that new lighter grid gets anchored in, which it's anchoring and is anchored, then more and more beings can basically just exit one and step into the other. Because not all the beings on the planet are going to be pioneers of the new world, a lot of beings are just going to be guided to the next one. They're not like, it's because there's still a sheep kind of mentality, and that's okay. That's just like, humans are here to have an experience, but in a lot are here having a collective experience, and some of us are more directing, or here to channel and direct and usher consciousness, which again isn't some egotistical thing. It's just this like inner knowing of like, okay, we're here for the upgrade. And how do we know this? I'm not sure. It's intuitive, right? It's infinite intelligence. It's something I've known really, really early on in my awakening. So I'm like, oh, there's like this battle of light and dark, which some people talk about Earth being like this sort of great cosmic experience. And so enough mind beingnesses have merged with their light essence, so they've faced and they've moved through the darkness and now have risen to their more light-filled kind of Jedi state. And so then those dark forces vacate. It's sounds really kind of like dramatic, but when you're inside your consciousness doing the battling, you kind of get what I mean. Is that it's still always an inner battle. It's like that I reference in the Fearless Life Guide. It's like Gandalf in the first movie. He falls and he plummets to the depths of his own fiery darkness. He plummets to hell, but it's his hell, and he is the wizard. He must battle his fiery dragon. And then guess what? He rises by the third one as the White Wizard. He recycled himself and became more light. Every time, so in my awareness, like every time one of us hits up and owns an emotional trigger, and then if waves and storms start to come through us, and we own those, that's when we start to access our true wizardry, mofos. Like that holding space for the energy body is like the wizard in us, because then we can start to be more clear and hold the container of it and then direct it. So kind of in a way, that's what we've been anchoring forever relevant. I watched, right? It's forever relevant. In my opinion, so is Harry Potter, because it's these great stories that are essentially teaching us about our magic, our elemental, I want to say elemental, but also weird. See, I was thinking about that as well. Sorry, I know a nice person. I'm trying to talk kind of quiet because it's quite early here. Yeah, they're teaching us the great teachings, I would say, of like the light and the darkness is within us. You know, each and this is what I was thinking about. Of like the truth of these stories is like this great evil, this great darkness that is apparently like here and against us and distorting us. Like when it comes to Frodo and the ring, I'm like, isn't it symbolic that the ring is like a thing? Obviously, I'm like, you know, when you say something and you're just like, yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that like infinite intelligence or true magic is energy and consciousness and like invisibleness. True magic could never be a thing. And that's the distortion of corrupted power. That's the great, you know, what's his name? Gollum. Precious. That's the kind of fallen state of humanity. Like I call them the stormtroopers. Like when we go out into the world and we see people just mindlessly shopping, or those people. Think of Black fucking Friday. Black Friday is like the human golem. That's what's happened. We've all become like, we've all become like Gollum, right? And trying to buy our things and getting our things, and I guess more of us are endeavoring to remember girlfriend, literally connected, one mind. Seriously, the potent resonances here on YouTube, it's just telepathy. A side note, or maybe this is relevant to the next phase after this cosmic upgrade, is refining and honing telepathic communication. So finding exercises and finding, I'm feeling into like a small collective. Obviously, those of us that are spotted different parts of where we are in different parts of the world. So I'm like, I'm only saying this because it's reflecting back to me. I'm like, there's a handful of us, I'd say, that are literally just vibrating a certain frequency, and we're talking the same talk. And so I spoke to somebody else about this. It's literally just about having probably certain times of day that would, like, one person, this would be doing it consciously, but we throw a thought vibration, or we throw a specific connection to somebody, and we see if it's received, right? Yep, same. And it's like very direct reflections, isn't it? It's a very instant knowing now. And now but again, intuitively, we knew this was going to happen. And this is again relevant to this now new moon energy, like a reset. And then like a, here we are. And this is something else. This is like the next level of new paradigm, energetic awareness. And it's very little, if not none, like no ego left now in this next wave of tribal activity. So us like congregating and feeling into the soul's connection and knowing, like the Great Spirit. That's what I'm hearing, knowing that the Great Spirit is ultimately what's unifying us and guiding us, because this next wave of us have been anchoring in a lot more, just that's our job. It's not like a special thing, but we're anchoring in a deeper depth to expand out a broader awakening energy for the collective. Hence these connections have popped up at exactly the right timing for where we are on our journey. There's 11 of you, and I think that's it for today's share. Happy new moon, everybody. I wish you well. I'll share just very briefly in case this is all new to you guys. Like when it comes around the new moon and the full moon, it's quite nice to have like a little, you know, whatever you've been working on manifesting and whatever you've been working on really kind of engaging energetically with, and write it down. And just know it's true. And I'm actually saving mine. I'm going to do another full moon broadcast on the 22nd of December, and this will be me in Bali, and I want to do something kind of like open for all of us, maybe a transmission, because that will be part of the manifestation of this cycle. And then as we head into New Year's Eve, I'll probably do a little something on New Year's Eve as well to really, oh, thank you, JK, on the 21st as well, on the winter solstice, there might be a bit of a congregation, which is right around the full moon, right? So, that's me going, Molly, you smart lady. So I'm actually holding space for this new moon intention, and I'm sort of unifying the new moon with the full moon as a very dynamic and culminating completion cycle, because this year has been ridiculous. Like never again. Like, okay, appreciate intense metamorph energy, but boy oh boy, it's a little close for me to like ever want to go back into that kind of energy. But you know, I owned and transformed self-betrayal, self-denial, and the core wound. Ultimately, the core wound of separation has been healed this year, but my God, it's just one of those, like, you just have to ride out the energies, but like, you know, there's some deep stuff happening, and again, I'm happy for it. I'm happy with how I'm showing up and how I'm channeling and how I'm like with the energies, and I know it because it's familiar, because it's like, yes, ridiculous, but so healing, right? And we know it because we feel it, because we rise up and then we show up and we're like, oh, we're reflecting back who we know we are. And so, of course, I'm so thankful for like all of the craziness, and even made friends with like my so-called betrayers, because like we'd already established kind of holy relationships. So it was like knowing that both parties just have to kind of go through some craziness, and then afterwards being like, oh, okay, whoa, intense, right? Yay, John! Guys, it's John's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday! That's very exciting. Okay, connecting dots, new moon, cosmic timeline upgrade. It's like already here, and then future forward. Really feeling into like a high vibrational, pure event for next year. Probably around June once I finish all the courses. And I want to do it like an unplug one. So maybe just 4 or 5 days. I'm looking at a space. Okay, I've got Costa Rica, potentially Montauk in New York State. I think it's New York State. Or is it Massachusetts? I don't know. A place called Montauk and a place in the Alps. And these spaces are just where I'm being guided to, like, because I don't, again, control it. But again, I'd want to do at least probably like 3 days of proper unplug, like put our phones away and like drop in really deep, but then do loads of fun and exciting stuff as well, and just share the journey and restore and clear, and then usher in like next level manifestation for the next couple of years, because the next couple of years are basically going to be like putting us on, like, pardon me, like shifting us right onto the path, which we're feeling now, we're seeing finally now, but then we're going to be anchoring into that new path. So things are still being shed, but we are rising, and we're rising in a way that's actually becoming more obvious and clear to us. So that's really exciting. You guys, I love you so much. I love you all as divine reflections. I'm thankful for you, like, beyond, and I look forward to speaking to some of you like this, and thank you for booking, and also yeah, some of you just in early stages of talks for collaboration and exciting things like that. So I'm looking forward to more of this lighthearted exchange, and deepening our connectivity and understanding because of this upgrade ultimately. Love you guys. Have a great day. Peace out.